We're doing it again. We're doing it live. We're going over it.
All right. It is Friday, September 10th, and we are here, and we are doing a Mile High PotCast retrospective. We've been doing this now for 3 years, 2 years?
No, 2 years. We've been on the air for 2 years.
2 years. We've been doing this for 2 years. We've expanded out. We had a shit ton of shows. We got a shit ton of things, and quite honestly, we just couldn't think of anything to do this week, so we were like, let's talk about everything else we've done. Let's do a retrospective of our show. And it makes the most sense because we have both Dave here and I who have been here since the very beginning, and we have Melody who also went as for a long time.
Mel was there. She was there in spirit for the infamous first episode, but she was officially part of the Mile High PotCast, beginning with the second episode, which is really the first episode. Right. It's all very confusing, but it's on Spotify, so feel free to
Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. We are like Star Wars. Mile High PotCast, Star Wars. We're one of those.
We're that good.
We are that good.
Yeah, we're here to talk about how we've kind of grown out. We'll talk about the things that we always do, what we liked, what we did this week, what we saw. But we were really looking back, because we have Santoria, Mary Beth, and Dr. Detroit, and T-Man, and the Potter Girls, and DK shows up sometimes when you go on reality shows. And we have Courtney. We have all the weed ladies that show up on our show. We have Courtney. We have Kim. We have, I'm sure, another name.
We have Nicole. We have our friend Nicole, from the comedian from Illinois. We have T-Man. Who else?
We have
brother. Don't forget your brother,
Chris. Yeah, Chris comes in.
What has your brother been?
He's been running a little crazy, but he's definitely if we exist in the virtual world, Chris is totally there. He is our representative in VR. So if you guys need to find Chris, go to the VR, and that is where you'll find him. And we have other Dave. We have Chef David.
Oh yeah.
So
so many people.
Mm-hmm.
So many people. But let's start off with I'm going to start off talking specifically about something that I want to talk about, which is who saw the Matrix trailer.
I did.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Are you guys excited about a return to the Matrix?
Yeah.
It's too parallel to so many things, and a certain group has hijacked the term red pill, and I'm concerned with what that's gonna do. But other than that, I personally am fascinated because I don't remember the end of the third movie apparently very well. So I don't understand why he's there.
He's died. I'm pretty sure he died.
Yeah.
This is according to the trailer. This is a completely different version of Neo. This is not the Neo from the original trilogy.
Is it though? Because
I says back in the Matrix. So is that there's a part where that one guy says all that to be back in the Matrix? Yeah. So is he talking about a scene we haven't seen? I don't know. It's a good story, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. I don't know if we needed it right now. That's all.
Is that guy supposed to be Lawrence Fishburne? Why is Lawrence Fishburne not here?
I think they're doubles of all the characters. I think we've got Trinity. I think we've got the Lawrence Fishburne.
But everybody else is the original actor. What happened?
No, but we have Carrie Ann Moss, but we don't. I think the White Rabbit Girl is new Trinity. I think that's new Morpheus. I think it's this upgraded version of the Matrix, and I think what we are seeing, because Carrie Ann Moss and Keanu Reeves recognized each other clearly in that one scene. So the question is, they could very well be the same characters somehow drawn into the Matrix. I think that Jonathan Groff at the end is going to be the mastermind, the big keeper of the Matrix and everything. So we had to talk about it. It's huge. But yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I don't know if we need to go back into the Matrix, but I know if we need to go in the Matrix in the first place. So
Rob Roberts says he's kind of burnt out on the Matrix, and the trailer did not impress him. So I want to give a shout out to Rob Roberts, who's watching, and Dustin.
Hi, Rob.
We brought Dustin all the way from Minnesota in
Nice.
the Santori project, and he's watching our show tonight. So let's
Hi, Dustin.
that's because Santori hasn't done a show in a while. So they're aching to see some shit.
He's dying. He's dying for some live entertainment.
Right.
Here we are.
It looked good. It looks good. I will definitely go see it. Keanu Reeves is a cool fucking dude. I just I'm not really that interested. I'll just go see it because I like action movies. But I'm not like super like jacked about it or anything. Didn't really do anything for me.
There was a lot of Star Trek that came out this week too. Trailers for new series and Return to Home because we just had Star Trek Day. So that shit was really excited. I won't stay too much in it, but right now we have more Star Trek going on than we've ever had simultaneously running at a single time ever in the history of Star Trek. So if you like Star Trek, you're living in the golden age of some good Star Trek shit going on.
We didn't mention yet. Have you guys seen the Spider-Man trailer?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it looks good. Yeah.
See, that's a way to make an exciting trailer, man. I mean, you put a lot of your eggs in that basket, but that Marvel has a million different eggs, and so they're like, let's give you a little Doctor Strange, just give you Dr. Octopus, but they're like, let's give you hints of these other people. Right. That's a way to get people jacked on your movie for sure.
No, the Spider-Man trailer looks really good. I think that the problem is DC had a chance to open up the multiverse, and I think they're gonna just give it up to Marvel. They had the opportunity to be the leaders of the multiverse, but
yeah,
Marvel's got a plan, and they're just gonna run it straight in, and they're gonna own that multiverse thing too.
Yeah, and then DC is, from what I remember, they're the ones that came up with the idea of the multiverse like long time ago.
I think so.
And Marvel is gonna win it, and nobody's gonna remember. They're gonna be the fucking Hydrox cookies of the cookie world, and right. Marvel's always gonna be the Oreo from now on.
Yep.
It's a mess. What else is new that's coming out? Any other news that anybody else see anything they want to talk about?
Fuck yeah, dude! I saw Shang-Chi last week.
Did you?
And it was fucking great. Good. It was so fucking. It was like I don't know if you guys ever watched Hero with Jet Li or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah, it had a lot of those same kind of artistic kung fu fights, and there's a lot of like Jackie Chan type fights where they're like fucking sliding down poles and shit, and like twirling around and fighting in the air. I mean, the action was fucking great. And they brought back Ben Kingsley from Iron Man 3, which was completely unexpected, and he did a fucking killer job. Nice. Yeah, he did a great job. He was super annoying in Iron Man 3, but he was a really fun character in this one. So Marvel fucking just did it, man. They were able to turn that shit around. The action was great. It was funny. As much as I dislike Awkwafina's voice because it's very grating, she was really funny. She was real funny.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about the new set of the next phase of Marvel movies, and I think it was the highest grossing opening Labor Day week in the second half.
Yeah, for Labor Day, yeah, and it came in just behind Black Widow, which makes sense because Black Widow is the female Marvel badass. They're giving a solo movie too, but Shang-Chi fucking was a way better movie.
Nice,
better movie. Yeah. Good. And it sets up the Eternals, which is great because I'm really excited to go see the Eternals. It's coming pretty soon, and it very much sets up the Eternals, and I'm excited. I mean, great. Movie theaters are back open. Like we're getting all these fucking movies that have been put off for the last year plus, and now they're all fucking coming. They're all coming real fast. Like the Dune trailer. Have you seen the Dune trailer? I read the books. They're real fun. This fucking movie looks amazing. So I mean, it's all coming out.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a push, and we're gonna get an influx of some really solid movies going forward. Do we talk about Suicide Squad? Have we talked about that yet? I
don't know, but let's do it. I know I liked it. I thought it was real fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was better than the original Suicide Squad. I'm glad that they gave the Suicide Squad a better shot. Two things hurt it for it is that number one, it was James Gunn, but it wasn't James Gunn enough in my mind. And it's not even my favorite DC movie. I figured the James Gunn Suicide Squad should make it, but really Shazam, I have to say, is probably the pinnacle of like DC. They're the DC representation of movies. I think Shazam is a great movie. I think it was done right. Followed by probably the Joker. The Batman is probably going to be a badass movie too. But yeah, the Suicide Squad, it was fine. And that's the problem with a DC movie is I can say it's fine. Mel, what do you think of the Suicide Squad?
I liked it. I did like it better than the first one. I at a certain point felt like okay, so I recently watched Cruella and they like outfit each other. I felt like Harley Quinn, a lot of that was kind of that, like the red dress and everything. It was good though. It was a good movie. It was entertaining. And the first one, I don't remember very much of it at all. So
I will say Cruella was amazing.
Yeah.
Have you seen Cruella, Dave?
I have not.
It is now
pretty
free
good.
on you don't have to have premiere access, you don't have to pay extra for it. Free on Disney Plus. Cruella, really good movie.
Yeah.
Nice. We're talking about Jungle Cruise because I know you guys were a big fan. So
we did talk about Jungle Cruise. We did a whole
okay, then we don't need to talk about it anymore because we don't need to talk about the shit anymore.
Yeah, no, it was fine. I one thing I will say about Jungle Cruise, and I tried to describe it to my son tonight, is that I'm like, it has like a bunch of like 3 different villains, and none of them are great villains. Yeah, they have great actors to play these villains and everything. You know, knockoff Matt Damon is wonderful as a Nazi, and fucking Sideways is good as
Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti is good as the other boat guy. And then like the bad guys from Pirates of the Caribbean too were fine at their roles, but it was just, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it needed a bad guy. I feel like we make movies sometimes with a weird obsession need for a bad guy. It could just be them searching for this shit. Didn't they used to do that? Am I wrong about that? Like in King Solomon's Mine, was there a bad guy in King Solomon's Mine?
I don't know, but there was a bad guy in Indiana Jones at the.
Yeah, I mean the Nazis.
Well, not just the Nazis. It was, but you don't remember the bad guy really from
a Nazi
from the first one. Yeah,
it was a Nazi. Who's the bad guy in the second?
Melty face Nazi.
Right. Who's the bad guy in the second Indiana Jones?
Man, I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm glad you brought it up because it's fucking great. It's so great. Guillermo is fucking awesome, dude.
The one from yesterday yet, but
I haven't either. But yeah, what a great fucking show! It's just getting better and better. Like this season already is it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a good continuation of the show. What else do you watch besides what you do in the show?
Ted Lasso, man, it is just a phenomenal fucking show. It is so good.
Yeah,
great. It is absolutely fucking great. If you don't have Apple Plus, man, just go and like sign up for like their 7-day pass and like binge all the episodes that you can, and then like let it expire. I mean, go and fucking watch Ted Lasso. It is great. But Reservation Dogs, that's the other one that you have absolutely have got to go and watch.
Yeah,
it's on Hulu. It is created by Taika Waititi, and it is absolutely fucking amazing. And then on top of that, the fucking Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin and Martin Short. It was what a fucking great show that is. What a great fucking show that is. I cannot say that enough. I mean, such good shows out on TV right now.
Yeah, no, Only Murders in the Building is wonderful. Selena Gomez holds her own with these great people, which doesn't surprise me. She's hilarious. But and it's great. You get to see Tina Fey, you get to see Nathan Lane.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's so fun.
Agreed.
But if you guys have not seen Reservation Dogs, man, just give a couple episodes a shot, dude. It's really good, really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I've heard it was supposed to be a really good one. We finished Physical on Apple Plus, and we saw.
You watched Physical, but you didn't watch Ted Lasso?
Correct.
Are you fucking kidding me?
We watched the whole thing of Physical.
Oh my gosh,
the entire season.
Yeah, it was fine. And
what else?
Schmagadoon.
Yeah, that's a great show. That's a fun show. Mythic Quest, also on Apple Plus. Apple Plus is putting out some great fucking shit. Mythic Quest is really funny. It's a really funny show. And then they just put out the morning show, the second season of the morning show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon and Steve Carell. That fucking show was great. I mean, Apple Plus is coming out with some great shit, but nobody's watching it because you have to have Apple.
Yeah, there's not a probably. I guess Ted Lasso would be their signature show. That is supposed to bring people on. So, but it's the one I haven't watched yet. I watched like a documentary.
Believe that.
No, my mom watched it. She fucking loves the shit. Everybody who I've known has watched it loves the shit. You gotta understand, I'm still going through a House marathon. My son and I are in season 6 of House. You know what I mean? House is a long thing. Fucking American TV shows run for 22 to 24 episodes a season. We are simultaneously doing that and watching Ashes to Ashes. But those are only 8-episode seasons, and it's only 3 seasons long. The whole series of Ashes to Ashes is as long as 1 season of fucking House, man. So like, marathoning shows is great. That's what I love about Stranger Things. And that's what I love about even Physical. Physical, what, gave me 10 episodes? Great. I'm fine with that. Schmigadoon gave us 6. Perfect. Move on to the whole thing. But no,
we watched that other show that it was like 1 season long. The
watching all these shows.
Died.
Literally, the one show to watch is Ted Lasso. You're watching every show
trying to figure out
it.
who killed the guy, James.
Who killed the guy?
The guy he had to hold up the site, the 5 million views.
Oh yeah. Clickbait. We watched Clickbait.
We watched Clickbait. That was really good.
Yeah, it was better than it had the right to be.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, and I don't usually like serious stuff lately.
Nice. Well, there's a lot of good stuff. It's, TV and streaming is a lot like the movies. Like, they're so backed up with excellent content, and in the meantime, while they're getting backed up, all the people who are writing, producing these shows are coming up with even better ideas. I mean, you can't tell me that what I do in the shadows or what we do in the shadows was not helped by being in quarantine.
Yeah. A lot of things are going to be hurt with quarantine. They're about to bring Survivor back. Some things aren't helped by it. They're about to bring Survivor back. And listen, if you like Survivor runs 39 fucking days, and American Survivor runs 39 days. They're bringing Survivor back, and they're shortening it down because of the 2-week mandate, for testing to 26 days. I don't want to watch a 26-day Survivor. Survivor's been on the air for 40 seasons. They haven't changed it. They went down by 13 days. Any kind of challenge like that where you go down in days, you're not going in the right direction. So, but going in the right direction, I'm going to use a huge segue.
That was a good one.
Thank you. I saw the opening, and I'm sure you have. You had mentioned something about clips. I may just be throwing this out here, and you may not have any clips. But if
I have our first episode.
I
don't have we didn't do video back then. COVID forced us to get on to Zoom. Like we had some real fun shows at your house that I think we recorded or videotaped one of them. But we didn't go really to video until we were forced to go into quarantine. So the first season and a few episodes were all just straight up podcasts. And so we have a lot of those on like Spotify and on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. But for video, we don't really have a whole lot because we did so many just like regular podcasts.
Yeah, it wasn't until you set up the studio downstairs that we really started transitioning into video. And even then we started with audio. That's right. Yeah. So yeah. And all right. Well, what do you got? Do you have like things?
Yeah.
So all right. Play one. Let's see what we got here.
All right. Stop being so bossy. Shit.
I knew there was something there.
All right. It's gonna take a second.
All right. Well, not to sit in dead air. Oh, Dave's got buttons.
So we're trying to sell advertising here.
Not to Rocky Road.
Right, here we go.
Let's show Rocky Road. It's music, science,
we're
politics.
Talk about what
the
Mile High
only
PotCast
people who were able to hear it were my co-host Dave and Chris, who is normally with us. He won't be with us this week. He for the next couple weeks he is on assignment outside of the country right now. We have Nancy Wilson with us instead of Chris. Hi, Nancy. Welcome to the Mile High PotCast. Hello. All right. So we're gonna kind of do what we did last time, where you didn't hear it, so it doesn't matter. It'll all sound new to you. So welcome to the second episode of the Mile High PotCast. My name is James Thomas, and with me are two of my oldest friends, my co-host David Hawkins, and hey Dave, and Nancy Wilson, who is a very dear friend of mine as well.
So innocent.
You may be wondering why we call this a podcast versus a podcast, and for that, I am going to pass it over to Dave. Mr. Hawkins?
All right, so it's unfortunate that we lost that first one because it was really fucking hilarious, and it's exactly what we're trying to do. It is a, Mile High PotCast is a lighthearted, episodic podcast centered around two themes: high quality marijuana, and pop culture conversation. This idea was derived from when I was growing up and smoking ditch weed with my friends. We would sit in a circle and just shoot the shit about everything from like movies, comics, music, science, politics, and like the more high we got, the more fucked up our conversations went. And they were hilarious, and it has stayed with me for my entire life. So the Mile High podcast is basically a high-tech version of the Weed Circle from when I was growing up.
It's basically...
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think about after you hearing all that?
It's a good intro. It's a good explanation and intro of what we were doing at that time.
At that time, I think it was such a good explanation for what we've accomplished over the last 2 years. We've had, fucking scientists on here. We've had weed experts on here. We've talked about science. We've talked about pop culture. We've talked about the Ask the Experts episodes about weed. I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff on here, and I think we've really accomplished everything that we set out to when we had that first episode.
It really has just transitioned into like that exact to the hanging out aspect of it. You know what I mean? Because it's more. It was always about the hanging out, and it transitioned well into that. And Nancy, Mel, I mean, how does it feel to be yourself now?
It's better, I don't have to be as uptight about like saying the wrong name. At the time I worked for a company that probably wouldn't have approved, and I didn't want to upset anybody. So it's nice to be able to be me. I feel like, that was a good summation of it. And I feel like as we grow, the circle kind of matured. That's all. We've had some pretty serious topics on here a little bit, not anything like, sad, but like talking about the industry and the legal aspects and that kind of stuff. And I think I've enjoyed it. I've matured with it.
Yeah. And just,
I wasn't even going to do anything originally. Like I was not ever going to be on a
you were kind of forced into it.
Yeah.
Last second.
Yep.
But now you're the OG3. I mean,
that's right.
I don't think the Mile High podcast could have shaped up the way it has without your voice on there, because you are a highly intelligent person who is very successful, and you're a fucking stoner. So I mean, like, we need your perspective, and I think you give a completely different perspective that a couple of swinging dicks just don't have.
I think, well, thank you, but I think all it is just it's important to normalize it. I think that for a long time when it was illegal, people like me had to hide it, and keep it to ourselves, and we weren't really doing anything wrong. Even the people who opposed it, they always said, what's your biggest problem with it? Well, it's illegal. If that's your only problem with it, it shouldn't be illegal. Was kind of the point. And now I feel like there's very little to risk in the grand scheme of things, but people should openly talk about it. It shouldn't be this secret thing. We're not doing heroin,
If you're doing heroin, keep that shit secret. We don't want to know.
Yes.
Right. That is a completely different show. I will say that the women of the Mile High podcast are all very professional. We have somehow worked a way out in here that every woman that we have on this show is just far smarter and far more professionally in a better place than we are, which I don't know if that helps our argument that weed is great for everybody. But
but most of them are specifically successful within that industry, so it can be good for people.
Oh yeah, it is very true.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite episodes from this year was having Courtney and I wrote down. Thank you. I wrote down her name, Kayla on. I thought that was a really informative show.
Great.
I learned a lot about that, and I had it made me what happened. Okay, sorry, your background threw me off. But that was my favorite episode for the same reason. I was impressed with the fact that you could find a panel of women to discuss those issues. That was cool.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I really appreciate about our show, and even when you're spilling out into like Santori's show, like we want as many unique voices on the show as possible. Like, we don't give a rat's ass about if you're a man, woman, gay, straight. It doesn't matter what the fuck, man. We want to hear different voices, and I think it's really important to like have a woman's voice on. People don't necessarily associate women with marijuana. And it's completely opposite. It's completely away from the truth. I mean, some of the best people that I'm working with now are fucking women. Like, women make up a huge part of this company that I'm with, including down to the bud tenders. I mean, it's very, very important to have that voice, because like that's a huge segment of the industry, and they're fucking CEOs and business leaders and real estate moguls and shit. I mean, like, there needs to be more of a voice.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that
I think it's awesome that you guys have, recognized that and given a space on your platform for that.
Yeah,
our platform.
I think that women have. I think they're really owning this industry. I think the weed industry is a female-driven, at least by the power top of it, industry, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Do we have any other recordings?
Oh shit! Talk amongst yourselves.
I just wasn't sure. I was
find something.
All right. Yeah. So, no, not only did we do that, but we've done the Santori show, which was going to be a completely different project before COVID came. Like, really, Santori showed up here, and what you were about to see, we had body mics, and we had travel cams, and we had drones. We were set to do a real YouTube-based channel with the Santori project, where we sent him out on crazy adventures, and we were going to have some great adventures for Mike, but it became a different show, and we sent him and Mary Beth on, they were gone for a good, I solidly want to say they were gone for a good 4 months on the road, just going city to city in the middle of a pandemic, and just talking to the weird people who were still willing to be out in the middle of the pandemic, who Santori was, Yeah,
Santori, he went to some really cool places, and he's just a nice guy, and people just have a tendency to want to talk to him, and so that got him into a lot of interesting places and talking to some really interesting people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would have very much liked to do the other Santori project, and we will probably end up having some version of it, I guess, in the future. But no, that's so funny that it wasn't. And then he does a show, and you know what? Once again, this is something that was not planned. Santori actually hosted a show on a completely different network.
Oh my God. What a fucking, you and I are on the same level here, James, because I found a great episode for us to check.
Okay.
That thought about Santori and the other the other channel he was on.
Yeah, he was on a completely different episode under the great TGTS radio, and he'd been doing weekly shows every Wednesday, and we were sharing him with one of our guests, Hollywood Tony P, who was our first guest of our second season. And
would you like to hear that at all?
I thought that, so maybe what you have. Yeah, let's see what you have as with Hollywood. Let's see what you have set up.
So what I love most about this episode is that you are absolutely talking shit to his face, but he doesn't really realize it. Like, you are totally calling him out on his bullshit for 99% of the show, and he does not realize what you're doing at all. So that's my favorite part of this. And this also happens to be our last in-person episode of Mile High Podcast before we went to Zoom because of COVID.
He was in a Friends episode.
Well, like you said, it seems like he's a fan, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like.
Who knows?
Fuck horrible.
Everybody's going to be disappointed with his name.
But see, that's the thing. You could do the show that all the fans.
What else we're going to talk about this year is what have we watched? So it's the beginning of 2020, and there are some things that we have been really enjoying and we've been watching and everything. And let's get the big one out of the way, and then we can work with the small ones. The Mandalorian.
So this is January 2020. The show is called 2020, the Roaring 20s. It's a predictive show how is 2020 gonna be? And
Oh,
I
yeah,
will
we
tell
made
you,
predictions. How do we do?
yeah, real bad, James, real bad.
Scene in Colorado gets together.
And this is
puts aside their
Hollywood 20p
differences
trying
for a
to
great charity, and we
talk
do
about
it
his wrestling
every year. So again, I'm
That's
working
cool.
with
That's really
more-
fucking cool.
And but in CSW, yes, I help run the place, and I'm talent liaison. They come to me with problems, and
I don't think he's doing that anymore.
I can deal with America's issues.
I don't know.
So not real exciting stuff, but I just thought it was really interesting. One, we had Santori's old podcast partner, and on top of that, fucking having a predictive show about 2020, and we did really, really bad about predicting the year ahead. I'll just
Right. Did anybody hit anything? I mean, did you hit when you were doing your research? Did anybody hit anything at all? Or any of us like?
No.
Yeah, that's
Really?
No, yeah, because nobody predicted that we were going to go into a pandemic, and we were literally a month away from the whole fucking world coming to a complete shutdown. So everything that we predicted was way off.
no. That's a
Yeah.
that is a fair argument.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could have seen that coming.
Yeah, and if somebody did, you would question that. You'd be like, "Why?"
Yeah,
did you do that?
Yeah, but when we go to find out that fucking COVID was in America at the same time we were recording, this was January of 2020, and COVID was very much in the U.S. at the time.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, no, we've come a long way. I like the transition to video. I like having guests. We really, and even on that first season, DW showed up a few different times. Did we have any other guests on the first season? It was Nancy, DW, Chris.
I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm
I
trying
think
to
it was pretty much it, because it was, doing a podcast from your place was a real chore. Having
Yes.
to drive all the way down there. You guys live in fucking BFE out by the airport. It was a chore to get down there and lug all the equipment, computers, and all that shit. I am very happy to just be doing this from my office, sitting in a chair, scratching my balls, drinking my Coke Zero while we're talking.
Yep.
So no, and DW still no, I would say DW he left once. David Bondarchuk has left the show twice, so he is no longer the guy who's left the show the most. David Bondarchuk has done that.
Oh, that's funny. That's right. He did. He's walked away a few different times. But DW walked away because he just got so blazed. And I think only a handful of times in my life had I ever seen him to that level. And he didn't even say anything. He just walked up and left the studio. Because
That was a badge of honor. That was an absolute badge of honor, because DW can smoke with the best of them, and we fucking outsmoked the shit out of them.
in his defense, we normally smoke at night. When we would record this, we normally smoked at night, and that way with the door closed and everything, it was still cooler based because it was later in the year that we started. It was getting into fall when we started doing it. Well, DW came over, and for some reason we didn't record on a Friday night because it wasn't available. So it's Saturday in the middle of the day where the sun's still out and we're still in a closed up room with a fan off and the windows. I mean, like, even our studios are hot. Studios are hot. They've always been hot, but even our makeshift studio is hot. And you couple that on top of just weed, just smoke bellowing and no ventilation.
And you couldn't have the fan running because you hear it.
The microphones here is
Yeah.
I had such a hard time trying to figure out audio because we had the one microphone. We tried to do the show with Santori, and when he called in, and we were recording on the wrong fucking microphone the whole fucking night, so he couldn't hear a goddamn word he's saying.
It was just a partial of a conversation. That's right. That's funny. And we didn't do it live at that point either.
Yeah. And this is before he even came out. Like, he hadn't even planned coming out yet, and we were trying to get him in. So we were trying to be inventive, and that's one thing I love about Trucking Pacific in general, but you and I especially. It's like, let's try something out. Let's try this. Let's do a deep dive podcast where we research serial killers. Let's try altering our voice. Let's bring on these different guests. I mean, let's say if the best idea wins with us, and I like that, and I appreciate it. I think it's really helped spice up the show.
Yeah.
No, I think it's been good, and I think going live does a lot. I think
yeah.
there is something to be said about not having a second take. You know me, I prefer to do it that way. I prefer to just I'm a product of the theater as it is. We used to record our things and Dave would take it home and edit it. For probably the entire first season was not done live.
Yeah.
I don't think it was until
Zoom. It was literally Zoom.
It was Zoom.
Yeah,
you're right. It was when we got on Zoom and we could broadcast it on Facebook. That's when it dramatically. We did video. We had video. Almost a whole season. Most of season 2.
Yeah.
I mean, is on video, but it was not shot. It was not broadcast live. You know what I mean? And we would go back and edit that shit too. So I do love this aspect of it. I know that most podcasters would not choose to do it the way that we do it because you want a little bit of control, but I'm not me, man. I'm like, let's go out and do it. Let's go live. Let's talk to our audience while we're doing it. You know, thank God we only have so many people talking to us because if we had a really busy Facebook page, we'd have to have a fourth person here just reading that shit.
We should. We definitely should. Because I feel kind of bad like when I'm trying to do all the let's do the screen share. Let's listen to these clips and stuff. I'd really like to have somebody who would do all that shit for us, but we have like one viewer right now. With those kind of numbers, it's hard to hire a fourth person.
Right.
Hi, viewer.
An intern or a producer. It's the argument of an intern or a producer because an intern at least is free. But yeah, no, that's I love our going live. I think it was.
I do too, and I was real nervous about going live. Like doing the podcast is one thing because you don't really see your face,
right?
And I'm not a guy who really likes seeing my own face, and so I was real nervous doing that. But ultimately, it was fun, and I'm over that now. And we've done all sorts of different shows and shit. Yeah.
You pop up everywhere.
I am literally everywhere. I am. If you want to say there's the face of Truckee Pacific, unfortunately, it is my face. That's probably why we have the numbers that we do.
No, it's perfect. You know what, Dave, and even Hollywood, we talked. Hollywood used to be in everything that he touched when we did a thing. You are not in everything that we touch, but every once in a while, if you need to be thrown in, you do it. You will show up on a Potter's Girls. If Santori needs an extra one in there. But I think what makes us strong is that we let people do it on their own too. We're like, Santori, do your show. Find 2 people to fill your fucking show. You know what I mean? Whatever you want it to be. The Potter's Girl show is entirely their own thing.
Yeah. And completely separate. Like they had, other than Christy coming in and on her first time playing James's game, she fucking came in and won. There's really little connection between it. And it's a completely different show. They're talking about books and shit like that, and it's stuff that's very interesting, and they have a real good following for that. It's just very different from us, and I love that. I love just do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to take 6 months off between episodes, go fucking do it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna tell you, force you. And we do shows, we do experiments, like the time that you guys we're doing the reality bites and then the marriage videos. I think we should definitely start getting back into doing the little live videos we did during quarantine because we happened to,
I gotta be honest,
build a following up.
What stopped my live videos is my audio on my cell phone. It's just shit. You know what I mean? And I know exactly what you mean. I think those work out for that. But my audio, because we started doing it for Mountain Shore. And we started realizing when we'd watch it back that I'm here talking about shit that I'm trying to sell. And I'm like, hey, I can't hear myself because the audio quality on my cell phone is just so horribly poor, which means there's probably just lint in a microphone. I don't know where the fuck that is in my cell phone. But I do agree. I think these, when we were just talking to the camera, that got a lot more people drawn to the page. So maybe I'll clean out my cell phone or get a new one. And we can help.
I just like that, we have so much variety on here. It's given me an opportunity to pursue some of the things that I really enjoy, like music. We're not afraid to do episodes about music, even though you're not into music, but we put strong musical guests there. Santori and I are real big into like rock and stuff, and so we've gone off and we spun off and started doing our own podcast.
Right.
And you and DK and Mel, you guys got together and did a show. Yeah, it might only last a couple episodes. My Race Through Space podcast. It might only last a few episodes, but we're trying shit out, and if we enjoy doing it, awesome. Let's keep doing it. If we don't enjoy doing it, then it could fuck off, or could be like James's Games, where that's like the most fun fucking show to come out of Mile High PotCast. I look forward to that all the time.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I was just thinking, because I've been thinking I'm going to do a grander. I want to do a season arc. Yeah, and I'll let everybody know. Here's where I'm going. I'm doing a season arc type James's Game idea in my mind. I've been working on it for a while. Because we listen to a lot of murder podcasts and things like that, or we watch a lot of murder YouTube videos and everything. And I like to do so many things about that, like based off of like what I see on YouTube, influences that I have. And then I thought, I have had so many people play a James's Game. So viewers out there, if you want to throw me some suggestions about this, but here's my general plan. I want to do a season-long arch. I want to get everybody who's played a James's Game and everybody who wants to play it in James's Game. I want a full cast of people who want to do it, and like Dustin can come in, and like everybody. If you want to play James's Game, start with a major cast, and then it's going to be like a reality show, a James's Game reality show where, but like, and I hate to say The Apprentice, but it's going to be like The Apprentice, because you guys are going to nominate who goes up, and I decide who gets kicked off. But it's not a single episode thing. I actually think Chef Dave would be great at this one. I think he's better at a reality show than he is about these quick games. But it'd be like make a 3-minute, pick a murder story and make a 3-minute video, like you're a podcast. Make your 3-minute like murder podcast video. I think about it. We could run a whole bunch of things. If we have 10 players, that's 30 minutes of watching what they came up with a murder podcast and everything. So those are the kind of things
I'm in for anything. I'm always in for that shit.
So that is where James's Game in my crazy mind is going. So
nice.
I
love James. So what are some of the episodes that have stuck out to you, like the most infamous episodes, or some of the most fun episodes? I know, Mel, you mentioned the Women of Weed. Are there any else?
Yeah. Me specifically. I really enjoyed the one where you had Amanda on.
Oh, the music,
and
the concert.
The music one, the concerts. That was really fun for me. I think I also liked. I listened to the one with you, and I didn't expect to be next, Dave. Sorry. I was hoping I'd remember people's names before I was asked. But yeah, in particular, I've enjoyed listening to the James's Games, even the one that I wasn't, the ones that I weren't in. I did listen to. I like that part of it, because everybody, it kind of sets you up for jokes way better. You get kind of shit talk. I love that part.
Right there with you. How about you, James?
I like the ones, specific episodes, not so much, but I like when Santori, I can't think of specific episodes off the top of my head that I loved, but I love when we bring Santori on, because he has so much of his own vibe on his own show. And you think that we have a lot of episodes with Santori, but if I go back and look, he doesn't really show up here all the time. And sometimes when he does, he just kind of sits quietly in the corner. And I always love the part where we all just start calling him out. And the fact that, like, if you watch, like, he is really like formatted well when he does his show. He's down in the basement. He's in his own studios and everything. We have numerous of our shows where it's literally like Santori walking through a house, or talking to the people. Those are my favorite ones. And when we try to get your parents to talk, on the camera.
Oh, I love that. I do love that.
A great time. And then you just hear the echo in the background. Those are my favorite things. And I love how sometimes our open mic, we don't do a lot of open lines, because they just become a Hawkins family reunion most of the time, which are fun and hilarious. But
yeah.
That is the funny thing about the one with Amanda is by the end, it was just a Hawkins family reunion. I was like, everybody's like, remember when this happened? I'm like, no. It was fun though. They were very warm.
Yeah. I have some cool families though.
Yeah.
For me, the ones that stick out are the ones that kind of go a little wrong. So like the Christmas one, where my whole life, like I've known Chef David for a really long time, and him and I, he loved Christmas. He fucking loved Christmas. He decorated the White House for Christmas. And so I'm like, David, come on our Christmas show. And he's like, okay, I will be happy to come on your Christmas show. And then like halfway through the show, he's like, Dave, I hate Christmas. And it fucking completely just blew my mind that he hated Christmas all of a sudden. And the show kind of went awry. And then he ended up leaving.
I remember that.
Then he ended up leaving. So
Chef Dave's exits are really the best. Like he's just out. And you're like, he's not coming back. And he's done it more than once. It's hilarious. He's just
one time he literally he quit the show because he went to go eat dinner. It wasn't because like we pissed him off or he was just like he didn't like misconstrue that we were ending early or something. He's just like, I'm gonna go eat dinner. Bye. Yep. Fucking takes off. So I do love that. And the Hollywood Tony P episode stuck out just because like going back and listening to it and just like we were talking shit to his face all night long, and there was like decades of animosity towards this guy, and this is before he even blew up Santori like a real prick. Like just talking how it was so funny. We're talking shit to him for like a good chunk of that show, and he didn't realize it. And it was very funny.
The great thing about that, I mean, people should go to YouTube and they should check out that is one of the shows. There's about 3 or 4 shows where we do have the video clips of us watching.
It's so bad because like Chris and Tony, like they had to have like dog videos over their face and shit. Like it was pretty goofy. We were in Amsterdam.
Right. It would be like Muttley, like Hollywood would. So, and the Hollywoods was the strangest because he would be himself talking the whole time. But when the weed was getting passed, to not have it on there, we'd have to put Muttley in front. As we transition to video, it's amazing to me how many people are just like, I can't have myself on camera smoking weed. And I'm like, why? I never questioned that.
That another one that you just made me think of is talking about passing the weed. Santori was like he had come to visit. Like he hadn't, I don't know if he had moved or what, but he had come to visit and he was staying at your place. And we were smoking weed, and then he got really high. So he told us to like, you know, hold off, I'm pretty high. And so then we started skipping him. And like when we were like, let's do our plugs for the show, when he started like getting all like real pissed off that we'd been passing him the whole night. And so like the end of the show was just him going off on us about like what we didn't pass him the weed for the rest of the night.
That's
like,
right.
What?
That's right. And we were like, you could have just told us. And he was like, it was during the show. I didn't want to do that. Yeah. I remember one time that we were up in that small little office studio that we started off with, and we had gotten so high, and we were on the air, and we were laughing. I forget what it was. We were laughing about something so hard that I like kind of blacked out, fell off the chair, and you and Miller are like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You know,
Must have been really Blaze because I don't remember you falling out of the chair.
Weird. We smoked a lot more weed then than we do now, for sure. I mean, it was just like we had joints and bowls ready to go. So, and it was just like one was done.
And everybody was sharing with each other.
It was closed in a session.
We smoked a hell of a lot more weed.
Yeah.
I liked watching you and your son review the movies, and I remember really looking forward to your review of Hocus Pocus and then being so disappointed because I love that movie.
That's funny.
You guys were not that kind to it, but I get it.
No, but we came out with a newfound appreciation for Kathleen and Jimmy, so she's fun to follow on Twitter.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What's something that what's something like an idea that you really want to focus on, or what's an episode that you really want to key in on, or what are your future?
Like for the future?
Yeah, like what's an episode that you think we really should work on?
I think I should do a reality show and bring all of our guests over there and put it through exactly what I said. I gave that the layout of that. No, I think we have professionals now. I think we have a good enough set of not professional podcasters. We're all amateurs about that, but I think we have professionals in the weed industry. I think that we should really grow it. You have become, since the beginning of the show, are now a professional in the weed industry. You know what I mean?
And it's fucking amazing. Everything that I had hoped it would be, it's coming to fruition.
Yeah.
And that's just allowing me to get more hands into the industry to get more people to come on the show. Like every time I talk to people about our podcast, literally every fucking day, and I get the same thing like, "Oh, could I be on the show?" And so, like, of course, like people that like you and I went up to a marijuana industry event and we met fucking Kim, or the cannabis scientist who fucking won James's Games a couple weeks ago, who's going to be on next week for Ask the Expert. I mean, like, it's allowing us to get more ingrained in the actual cannabis industry. So that's great.
Yeah, no, I think that's what we do. I think until they're a big pop culture, there's really not like, because there's Apple Tea in every 10 years ago, we would have been able to make a pop culture centric show a lot better than we can today without picking a specific talk broadly about pop culture. Pop culture is broadly hard to talk about. But we do it, I think, pretty well. But I definitely think that now that we have so many people in this who understand weed and everything, that's where I want to see. I want smart people in the industry who like to talk about pop culture, but also know a shit ton about weed, and they've all kind of pulled in. Speaking of pop culture, where am I? Who knows?
I know.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
It's a certain high school library.
It is a certain high school
Is it from
library.
Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
Oh.
Where's it from, Mel?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It is the Sunnydale Library. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
What about you? What kind of show would you guys like to do or see more of?
Well, I wanted to do a music show, but then I took like a whole career change, and I just didn't have the time to connect, to commit to it. Sorry. I know you and Santori have your thing now, and I've enjoyed what I've heard of that. So I was actually kind of thinking what I'd want to do is aligned with my new career change. I'm studying psychology and wellness, and I kind of want to do that aspect of like the CBD and THC, like the topicals and stuff. We don't really talk about that much here, with pain management or stress relief, like what's best for what. I'd like to do like a little segment once a month, maybe just trying that out and seeing what the studies say.
I love that idea.
Thank you.
It's great.
So we'll see where that falls in line, but I have all winter now to prep for it. Hopefully I'll have something early next year for you guys with that.
That's awesome, dude. And I really like doing our stand-up special. So I want to do more like events kind of like that. So, try to do fundraisers, try to do more of the stand-up events. Because of our connections, now we have connections to a pretty decent audience or a pretty decent pool of comedians that we can pull. But maybe like do a live music show, like a showcase, like have a few different musicians on, have Amanda back on. My uncle's really good, Mel, fucking tons of musicians, bring them on. Your kids, fucking have a thing where your kids
I live with a few. Yeah.
I know. I mean, like, we can do that where, everybody gets to play like a 10-minute set, play like 2 songs, and then a couple of them hang out and we just talk about music. So I think that would be a real fun one.
That'd be nice. I like that.
But, one thing I love is just like, whatever ideas we have, we'll do it. And
we'll throw it out and see what happens.
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to the 64 villain James's Games. I am preparing my arguments for this James's Games. I will win. I will fucking dominate on this James's Games. I am most looking forward to that.
Yes. The giant breakdown of which is the best Marvel.
It's going on behind you.
Now you're in Tron. I know that one.
I'm not in Tron.
That is Tron. That is absolutely Tron.
Yeah, it looks Tronish.
It is Star Trek's holodeck.
No, it's Tron. I'm pretty sure it's Tron.
Literally Star Trek's holodeck.
Okay.
All right. Do you have another recording?
I can, if you want to talk amongst yourselves for a few seconds so I can prepare.
All right. See, this is how going live goes.
This is pretty much how it goes. I was woefully unprepared because I found the one episode.
Dave's like,
I didn't expect to like have multiple.
Well, I
episodes.
did that.
I did the one. That's all I needed, right?
we'll do one more recording, talk about that a little bit, and then we'll wrap up. No, I would like to see, like I said, I would like to see really getting some weed experts in here. I run into that a lot. I'd also like to go out, and I definitely need to hit the weed stores more around Denver. But once again, that's something that I need to fix my fucking audio on my phone, because there's no point in me going live in front of these weed stores at different places if you can't hear me. So
Get a mic.
I could. I have mics. I have.
No,
mics.
I mean like if they have those little tiny ones that you plug right into your phone now.
Blah 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 blah. Like a news report and shit. I guess we should talk about. It's September 10th. Should we talk about September 11th while we're killing time?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
So 20 years, guys. I mean, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
we were attacked, and here we are 20 years. Are we better today? Do you think we're a more connected country better today?
No, we are.
No.
We're so.
There was
far.
like a connection immediately afterwards for a couple weeks, I think maybe.
Were we better connected before? Do you feel like we're in the 80s and 90s? Were we better connected before than we are today? Like, let's say September 11th is the crossing point. 20 years, we're all in our 40s, so 20 years before and 20 years after, are we more connected or less connected than we were before September 11th?
No,
we're differently connected. I mean, because we are easier to connect now, like with social media and everything. But at the same time, I think it's an unhealthy level, and we almost we expect everybody to always be available and a lot of that. So I'm not sure it's a better or a worse, because before we just couldn't contact each other as easily, and now we just do too much. So,
Right. Did we lose?
Dave froze on us, huh?
Oh no, he just moves very slow.
Wow, you were statuesque.
No, I'm trying to find a good clip from the show with David, but yeah, I need.
That's tricky to do across. Chef Dave is so funny. Yeah, he that's the great part. He always just like that one time where I kicked him out of the game. He was supposed to hang around, and he was just like, "Well, that's it. I'm out. Thank you." And I'm like, what is Chef Dave doing?
Yeah, that was the night where he wanted to bow to go to eat dinner. All right, so here we go. Speaking of Chef David, let's listen to a little clip of him. This is our LGBTQ plus representation in pop culture.
But yeah, I don't know, where did gay marriage, I think it was a slow roll. I think there wasn't a Matthew Shepard for gay marriage. I think Obama was catching up to us, quite honestly. I think Obama went in. I think Democrats in the 1990s, I think the Clintons and everybody else, they would have been perfectly fine and happy to do it in the 1990s. I try to tell people this all the time. I think that the country as a whole had to move. You know what I mean? And I think
they really hurt him because they won't accept our relationship. And we've been married for 15 years. Wow. And so we're renewing our vows in August, and we've invited them to come, and I don't even know if they will. They will not acknowledge. And I mean, what do you say to that, you know?
Right.
So I definitely think the answer to that question is depending on, where you live in the country. But, I will tell you what pisses me off. Okay. That I have to tell people, I hope we can get to a point at some point where it's I don't have to tell you I'm gay. I'm David. Why does that other matter?
Right.
So that's what always I never understood, Ellen's on the cover of Newsweek when she comes out. And I'm like, why do we have to be on the front page of the paper? Like, guess what, mommy? I love dick. Like, really? Like, it's ridiculous. And I'll tell you what, the second thing that pisses me off, before there was gay marriage and all this, whatever, you know, and it was Hickenlooper at the time, he was the governor, they signed into law these civil unions. Well, we weren't allowed to get married. Carl plays hockey. We went up to Canada. We got married, bada bing, bada boom. He played a game. I got a ring, and we came home, you know?
Yeah, David is such a great guest. I love having him on.
Yeah.
And he loves to be on, but he doesn't have a great record hanging on to it.
Hey, let me share a screen. I think I have something to show you guys. Let's set
Okay.
me up to share a screen. I'll show you one thing, and then we'll do our wrap up. If this
Go
works.
for it. Should be good to go.
It's the whole music.
Did you guys see the Blues Clues? Steve from Blues Clues.
Oh,
Logo?
yeah.
That was
it
very cute.
amazing.
That was very sweet.
Yeah.
I know that music.
We did that show. Can you guys see this too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The video where shows go to die. I think there's 2 shows left on this commercial that are still around. It's so good. That was the last time James was on the website.
It's still what you see on the actual website now. That's like, welcome.
2 shows are still left. There's only 2 shows on that whole commercial. They're still left.
I mean, it is a Stoner's production. So
Absolutely.
the
All right,
best
speaking
of
of which, what are you
intention.
guys smoking tonight?
Oh, I went to Live Well and I got it's strawberry lemonade. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Strawberry
It's a
lemonade.
sativa. It's a good kind of fallback for me. I love anything super fruity. It's got a great citrus flavor. It doesn't
Told
stink
you
too
it was
much.
Strawberry something at the beginning of the show. What are you smoking? Now
I'm
you're an
smoking-
expert. Now you
No,
know.
I get only the best shit. Yeah, all my shit now forever until something happens with this job. Like the show will be officially be sponsored by Lova because that all my weed is literally coming from them. And the best part of my job is I get fucking samples almost on the daily, and it's the most amazing thing. But I'm smoking mac and cheese from Lova. It's really good shit. Like our flour is like really good right now. I mean, we have some really fucking bomb ass stuff. So that was kind of like my plug and talking about what I'm smoking.
Nice. I like how you double that up. But you have other things to plug, Dave. I saw on your page you just finished something, and so before talking about that, because I know I can't buy that yet, what should people be looking up? What should they read?
What an excellent question, James. As a matter of fact, if you're watching this show, for the one person who is watching the show, which is probably Rob Roberts, and you've already heard this plug before, please go and get Caldera from Audible and also from Amazon. It is available, as well as Race to Space Event Horizon 2. And James, what you were alluding to was Race to Space Event Horizon 3, which is literally the final book in the Race to Space series, with a short story provided by Truckee Pacific's own Dr. Detroit is writing a short story that's going to be a part of the Mile High, or you throw me off, man, the Race to Space universe. So yeah, Race to Space, and I this is the first time I've hit 100,000 words, and this story just will not end. It's like my brain knows that this series that I've been writing off and on for a decade now is about to come to an end, and so my brain just keeps on extending the story. So I hit 100,000 words, and I'm still not done. So
right, you don't want to
look like a porcupine.
Character. Who knows? It's weird how that happens. Mel, what about you? What do you have to plug?
Nothing. I just said that. Someday I'll do a wellness program. Check it out.
So I would say what I have to plug is, of course, check out all Mile High PotCast. If you want to play this James's Games reality show that I'm going to create, reach out to us. Literally, if you watch us and you're like, it's gonna be over a few weeks, you could win up to $1 million. Up to $1 million. You
Please
could win
$1
no.
in James Nichols.
No, we're not. No.
You could up to You up to, not a guaranteed $1 million. You can win up to $1 million.
I like that you put the criminal bandit face
Who
on
said
when
that?
you said that.
You have-
Legal disclaimer: absolutely no cash prizes will be given. Thank you.
There'll be 3D printed tokens.
It'll be that and like pride and bragging rights.
That's worth
Good
all the
stuff.
gold in the world.
Good stuff. Yeah, intrinsic meaning.
Well, and the other thing I would say to do is to go to Mountain Shore on eBay right now. You can go there from Facebook, the Mountain Shore page or not. I have a 25% off sale, which is everything over $20. I just sold, get this. I sold the Life Aquatic with Steve Zazu. The VHS open for $70. Why?
What?
Interesting. Yeah, you know what? You know what makes that interesting is because between when it first came out, came out at the exact same time that DVD was coming out. So they actually made far more DVDs than they did VHSs of a lot of movies. So specific movies have really strong values based on
Because of the low amount of prints.
right.
Okay.
So
Very good, Pierre. This is very good. Go to Mountain Shore.
check that out.
in.
I got to throw another plug in.
Click
Make sure you
in.
go and check out Santori and Hawk's favorite albums.
Yes.
Yeah,
When's your next show?
Santori's out of town this week, and then so probably next week, and we're gonna be talking about Van Halen's 2.
We will also be at some point broadcasting Santori and Mary Beth's wedding live. They don't know that. I never discussed it with them, but I've decided it today, and you know, that's the.
Are you gonna be the officiant? Are you gonna get signed up?
Yeah, I could do that. I can go online.
Universal Life Church.
Yep, that's a good idea. All right, well, Dave, if they want to give us money, how do they give us money?
Well, let's go through the whole slew of ways to get in touch with us and ways to check us out. Go to the soon-to-be updated www.truckiepacific.com. That way you can kind of find where all the shows are and links to all of our social medias. If you guys want to have any show ideas, or if you want to be on the show, or if you have any comments or concerns, criticisms, go to the Mile High PotCast at gmail.com. And like James is asking, if you want to throw a couple bucks our way, we are on Venmo at Truckee Pacific 303. We want to give a big shout out to our season sponsors, my parents. They are a season sponsor. So if you want to be as cool as them, which is it's going to cost you a lot of money to be as cool as they are, at Venmo at Truckee Pacific 303.
There you go. And Dave, what's the next week? We are having an Ask the Expert. Who's all going to be on there?
Next week we're doing Ask the Expert with Kim Newbarn. I should probably get her name right because she's been on the show. She's a James the Game winner, and I am blowing her name. So sorry, Kim. But she's in Moab apparently, so she's not listening to the show. Yeah, but she is our resident cannabis expert. She will come in and talk about the genetics and the science behind why weed fucks you up. And I'm trying to get Courtney in, but she's a very, very busy person these days. So we will definitely have another female voice on there, Mel, if Courtney's not available. That's it.
Ask the expert? Okay.
Well, Kim could be just the expert. We can all three ask questions rapid fire succession.
Yeah, she'll probably love that.
Yeah, I bet she would.
All right, so definitely a retrospective, guys. This is what you get. We've been doing this for a while. We love doing it. We have a good audience. We have good loyal audiences.
One of us mentioned how funny the first episode was. To this day,
never heard it.
It's still the funniest episode that we have ever done was the first one, the mysterious first episode.
I never heard it.
I know you didn't.
It was great.
It was fucking hilarious. And
it would have sent us down a completely different path than the one we ended up down.
Clearly.
We would have been famous the next day. People would have been like, that shit is the way it should be.
It was very funny. But yeah,
awesome.
It was we did a great job. We have really built something cool here. So I'm very proud of where we are.
Yeah. James.
See, he's trying to be funny, but
Yeah, I know.
He's blinking his eyes. It's kind of hard to.
Yeah,
when you're-
stupid stoner, dry eyes blinking. And there's nothing in the background. I was looking at that. I was like, oh, great. It's black squares. All they're going to do is be looking directly at my face. So.
It was a good try. You're so weird.
This is what happens when I get stoned and I have like a computer to play with. So, yeah, guys, tune in. Like Dave said, those are all the places that you can like us at, follow us, give us money at. This is how we're able to get this stuff done. This is how I got all these lollipops. So, thank you for listening to us for as long as you have. Thank you for watching us if you do. Thank you for giving us money. And just, strangely enough, you'd be amazed how many dispensaries I go into the Denver area. And I'm like, oh, I host a podcast with my buddy Dave. And they're like, the Mile High PotCast? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, I've heard of that. And I'm like, maybe they've heard of it online. Or maybe I have previously been in this dispensary and said it before.
It literally could go either way at this point.
Right.
It literally could be either way.
And that shows how far we've come. So, all right, guys.
We've come so far.
Thank you all for tuning in. Dave,
Thanks,
Mel,
guys.
have a great night.
Have a good night,
You too.
guys.
Good night.